Christina's Conscious Synergetic Thought Process presents Planet Utopia, Episode 25, November 6, 2022, Part 1. Designing a Whole New World on Planet Utopia. Welcome aboard Planet Utopia to all whose consciously induced intuition anticipates discovering omnirational correlations as an integral, conceptual, ever-increasing TLBSWME, coexisting, evolving intelligent species, humans of the eternal omniscient mind, EOM. TLBSWME, truth, love, beauty, symmetry, wisdom, maximum economy. Naturally, consciousness evolution never needs to be thwarted by inherited detriments that historically trace back to the womb of permitted ignorance. It was when the slave mentality of the PRJWBCH initially cultivated oppressive power that convinced egotistical self of its false premised superiority to control anyone and anything by force. Now, though, we are reminded by Bucky Fuller to turn adversity to advantage and to not oppose forces, but to use them. And so we must also learn more about omnidirectional lines of force, which are listed in our Buckminster Fuller Synergetic Dictionary. Electromagnetic lines of force, force distribution, geometry of vectors, vectorial and vertexial geometry, energy events, Galileo, shunting and reshunting, synergetics, surface strength of solids, all-time force, energetic functions, fields of force, inventory of push-pull alternations, weak force. As well, we are reminded that the word matrix and womb are synonymous, since womb is from Latin matrix for mater, mother. Logically, as intellect realizes that if the slave mentality initiated in the womb of permitted ignorance, then eliminating the slave mentality conditioning requires an omnirational matrix. It cannot be of the PRJWBCH politics, religion, justice, war, belief, complex hierarchies that for millenniums cultivated its irrational exploitations and the value of doing harm, resorting to destructive force as the least economic way systems behave. Traditionally, such illogical, irrational behavior relies on the punitory value to satisfy the P, the R, the J, the W of the belief complex hierarchy's insatiable appetite for more and more criminality, while feeling less and less satisfied with the elusive quality of love that cannot be found lasting under such prevailing self-delusion. Bookshelves located throughout world libraries concerning histories of the human condition evidence the imagination's ability to formulate conceptually as fact or fiction that will influence others to some emulative, self-clarifying, or self-deluding degree, all of which, in most cases, does not provide a contextual parameter such as the PRJWBCH acronym, which simplifies aeons of historical references as a futile matrix. Obviously, the PRJWBCH contextual parameter now can be rewritten to include the M for matrix. And because words and numbers are essential for apprehending and comprehending the information that likewise is also essential in the universal communications process, it is human intellect's thought and language, the mind's consciously coordinated systemic thought that refers to universal structural geometries that are produced while processing the conceptual experience, unlike PRJWBCHM, politics, religion, justice, war, belief, complex hierarchical matrix, ancient mentality, had no experience of the tetrahedron and the vector equilibrium in the isotropic vector matrix. Our 21st century humanity can escape the womb of permitted ignorance every time Clarity assures self by the words and deeds of systemic thoughts, accommodating referential resource, which in this case is simply by writing and rewriting the most accurately accommodating referential acronyms, which in this instance are PRJWBCH, Politics, Religion, Justice, War, Belief, Complex, Hierarchical Matrix. TLBSWME, Truth, Love, Beauty, Symmetry, Wisdom, Maximum Economy. AAANOEA, an Absolute Accommodation Network of Energy Articulation. EISEDP, Experiences, Intuitions, Speculations, Experiments, Discoveries, Productions. IVMOFCH, Isotopic Vector Matrix Operational Field, Cosmic Hierarchy. Doing so is experimental, and because metaphysical intellect, as a function of omnirational universe on planet Utopia, wants to iterate and reiterate self-assuring clarifications differentiated from self-deluding irresolute ramifications. Such uncertainties leave loose ends, where victimization becomes entrenched with justifications to all costly extremes, where life and limb are reduced to meaningless collateral damage at every level of societal behavior as humans adjust the a priori thought to the womb of permitted ignorance without consciously knowing the participating part playing out thus on the world stage. We can reasonably suppose that the isotopic vector matrix operational field complex provides a conceptual system as the tetrahedron universe's minimum structural system in common language for consciously tuned in omnirational contributions to the universal communications process. Such a projection requires a relatively pristine environment, such as Planet Utopia, that is not contaminated by the PRJWBCH, as is the case on planet Earth, which is a 10,000 frequency geodesic, a perfect prototype environment minus those EISEDP historical human event inputs and outputs. Let us not expect to manifest the anticipatory design science projections of the IVMOFCH on Earth with its predominating profit-motivating PRJWBCHM networks. Profit-motivating networks, as we observe, can convincingly delude recognition of exploitive harm when no consciously coordinated systemic thought has shown the slightest interest in manifesting a true democracy's TLBSWME. Neither does the PRJWBCHM indicate any interest in Bucky Fuller's AAANOEA discovery nor awareness of the EISEDP, which are among human events that we can peruse in Synergetics 201.11, Synergetics 502.22, and Synergetics 251.50. Yet, clearly, our Buckminster Fuller in the 20th century covered a lot of exploratory, consciously coordinated territory, while accumulating self-evidence by measuring and model making. The compilation of his lifetime search and discovery of nature's coordinate system obviously invites the human mind's conscious oscillations between our individual metaphysical propensities and physical incarnations. It requires a model of zero pulsation in the vector equilibrium as the closest approach that humans will ever know to eternity and the eternal omniscient mind, eom. This means, while beginning to imagine integration that discreetly controls the coordination of all complex interactions and reintegrating and restoring timeless zero-phase unity, Had Bucky Fuller not iterated essential synergetics terminology throughout the cognition and recognition, while consciously coordinating systemic thought's referential patterning integrity with the minimum structural system of universe and its empty set vector equilibrium in mind, the nomenclature that we are now adapting to as the newly conceived manifesting languages is unlikely that our 21st century intellection would take equivalent invested time and concentrated effort. With these essential words and numbers, we are learning to rely on in Synergetics. He has done all the work that we can experientially apply now as we anticipate the IVMOFCH as a contextual design science parameter on Planet Utopia. It is where there is no PRJWBCHM to intimidate and thwart the potential. Those of us who have had hands-on experience of the vector equilibrium jitterbug model are advantaged. We can recall pressing two triangles, one on each hemisphere, twisting, folding, transforming the vectorial model from vector equilibrium to the icosahedron to the octahedron to the tetrahedron. Later we learned that each of the 24 vectors mass times velocity equals 0, and that the vector equilibrium derives from 12 around 1 uniradius spheres. These are visual, physical, information experiences as the metaphysical mind observes, learning to conceptualize the closest packed assembly, correlating to the geometry of thinking. While the vector equilibrium is not a structure in its own right, as a system of universe, the eternal patterning integrity may initially seem inapplicable to anticipatory reality until, that is, it becomes known as the equanimity model and the model of exact balance. Then, metaphysical intellect imagines how someday it could play a pivotal role in anticipating omnirational realities. Besides, if not systemic thoughts, consciousness evolutions, anticipatory reality projections, coinciding with a conceptuality of the most economical ways systems behave relative to unity in self in universe, where would our 21st century humanity imagine differently coordinated realities from what obviously has no omnirational thought language in mind? Arriving at more consciously coordinated synergetic information with respect to systemic thoughts, tetrahedron, and vector equilibrium in the IVMOFCH as AAA-NOEA is also where the A and B quantum modules are conceptual energy events that we have yet to experience. We can anticipate the knowledge as we persevere with designing a whole new world on Planet Utopia. To be continued in Part 2, Episode 26. Thank you.